guys speak for everybody in saying that we are thrilled to see you back. And I wonder if you'd just talk us through your experience of the last 2 months.
Man, yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. It was tough. Obviously, not being able to be out there with my guys. Definitely one of the toughest times of my life. We thought we couldn't, I couldn't really do anything as soon as, I started getting some symptoms and stuff like that. And that's just what kind of makes sense. You get a crazy headache and it's like you can't really do anything. Like it was that bad. Like physically, I just couldn't be myself. And that was probably the hardest thing, not being able to be myself because, I know the kind of person I am and not being able to be myself, that happy guy that brings the energy. And, it's always, just bringing that constant energy in practice and giggles and not making everything so serious. You can't really, you got to have some sort of fun at times. So that, it was such a tough time that it was frustrated almost every day, getting headaches literally every single day. But I battled. I think having such great teammates, fighting for me and holding things down while I was out. I think that was probably the best thing that could have happened because they were fighting really hard and they had my back and right now I'm just excited to be back because now I get to fight with them. Just like they were fighting without me, now I get to fight with them and that's just what I'm most excited about.
I remember at the Milwaukee game, you went down with your hands, around your head on the side of the. Were you in pain the whole time, or did it sort of come and go? Did it come suddenly?
Yeah, that game was a weird one. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely wasn't feeling like I wasn't feeling myself. I didn't know what was going on, to be honest, and that's why we just let the professionals handle it. But I definitely wasn't feeling and I'm not gonna sit here and make an excuse 2 months later, but like I just that just wasn't me, and I definitely regret some of the decisions that I made. Obviously, trying to make too much or something, because knowing that something wasn't right, I could have definitely made better decisions. But of course, at the moment, I wasn't, and I feel like that's what led to so many mistakes, down the stretch. So
All right, great to have you back.
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
They say in sports that the last step in your rehab is to play. And, to reach what is, game shape or match fit or whatever you would say in sports, for you and for this process, like what did that feel like physically and mentally? Like when did you kind of know?
Yeah, it was. I mean, recently, to be honest, once I got some answers throughout the process, and that I think that was the best thing we did, just to kind of let the professionals handle it. And once I kind of got those answers of what's going on, I just started to slowly realize, okay, now I got the answers. Like having the answers for the test, like you go really confident and you're gonna get a good grade. So knowing that, I started coming to practice like I know I'm gonna be fine. I know what I gotta do. I just gotta keep pushing and keep working through it, and doing the things I gotta do. And as soon as I started doing that, I knew it was just a matter of days, because I just started following the instructions of the what doctor said to do, and it was just a matter of days. I knew I was gonna be ready to go.
And then in your first response, you talked about like you had made some mistakes. Like what were those mistakes and how did you correct them?
Um, what do you mean? Like, how do you correct them? Like, what do you mean?
Were you referring to mistakes on the court or off the court?
Oh yeah, just just both on the court and off the court, sometimes throughout the process, like I'll either try to do too much while I'm, trying to get back, where, I maybe could have slowed things down a little bit, but I feel like just wanting to get back on the court, so quick with the guys. I think that sometimes led to maybe, a few setbacks. Maybe, some of the days I will not be, so good just because I'm so anxious to get back with the guys. But, that's, you learn that throughout as the days go by, and, you mature. And, I've never had this kind of injury before. So sometimes there was days where I didn't really know how to deal with it. But, that's why we have professionals, and that's why we have, a great team, a great staff of doctors that were able to say, hey, like, this is what you got to do. It's, this, that, don't do this, don't do that. And, that's how I was able to get back.
Like Rob said, it's great to have you back. So thanks for doing this.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, Andre, good to see you again, man. I'm curious, you said you've never dealt with this before. Obviously, it sounded like maybe every day was kind of different in terms of what you were experiencing. How scary was that? I mean, just because it was so new.
Yeah, it was scary, man. I mean, I've had concussions before, but nothing like this one. And it's scary when, like I said, when you don't really have a lot of answers, and you don't have a lot of knowledge of what's going on. It's something that as I'm sure you guys, Coach Underwood said, like, it's a day-to-day thing. Like, some days where, like, okay, like, I'm really good, but some other days where, like, okay, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, why am I feeling like this? So it was definitely scary, not knowing what was going on or what was going to happen down the stretch. There was time where I'm like, okay, like, this seems like it's gonna be forever. This seems like, I'm never gonna be back. So, typical college athlete, mindset, when you get an injury like this, you start thinking about the worst, because you don't want to be in shock when you get the news of, like, okay, either you can't play, or you can't do this, you can't do that for this long. So, I was just trying to, at the end of the day, I was trying to stay positive, but at the same time, I was trying to have a mindset where if I got some bad news, I was trying, like, I didn't get to a bad space if that would have happened. So I was trying to stay in the middle.
Was there a point you thought, like, I might not play again this season?
Oh yeah. There was many times that happened. But once again, that's why we have a great staff here, to support my family, my friends, my people back in New York. Like, I had a tremendous amount of support, and I'm just very thankful for those people that was there, and they know who they are. So very thankful.
Thanks, man. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Bello, you were such a ball of energy during game days when you weren't playing. But how tough was it to not be playing? How tough was it to watch the guys and not? I mean, you have such a passion for the game. How tough was it to just be a spectator?
It was very, very tough, man. Like you said, I was dying to be out there with the guys. It was such a, like, coming to this year, so many great expectations, and coming in, for the team personally, for other guys too. So I was just very excited for this year, and I still am, and I still believe the things that I said before the season. I think we're that team. I know it for a fact, and we just got to continue to work, and that's why it was so tough, to be out, and that's why I always try to have that energy in the bench, because I couldn't be that selfish to say, okay, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, like, okay, like, I'm not going to support my guys, like, I'm just going to deal with it on my own. Like, I couldn't be that selfish, and I'm not that kind of guy. So that's why I will continue, whether I play, whether I not play, like, I will continue to support my guys, and live, whether I'm playing or not, live it out on the bench or on the court, because I couldn't be that kind of person at the moment.
I mean, even without you, the team's in first place in the Big Ten. I mean, all the goals are still there. I mean, it's a late start for you, but I mean, all those expectations can still be reached? I mean, it still feels like this season's in front of you.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's why I said what I said. I still believe it, and I still believe in us. And like I said, we just got to continue to work, and then I believe that we can still do special things.
Thank you.
Good morning, Andre. Good to have you back. I don't want you to get uncomfortable speaking about this, but is there a specific term or diagnosis that you were given that it should be referred to specifically?
Not really, to be honest. It was just, as just nothing really new, just concussion things, like post concussion things. And we just had to deal with it in a certain way. And it just took some time to figure that out, but I'm just glad we were, past that, and that it just feels great to, be able to be myself. So I'm just very excited for that.
And then I kind of wanted to ask you about the moment when you went to the scorer's table to check in the first half, and you hear the entire stadium kind of notice that you're going over there. What was that moment like to hear the roar of the crowd for you again for the first time in 2 months?
I could have cried if easily. I could have cried, but I was crying in the inside, just so just happy tears, just so proud and so thankful to be back on the court. When you go through a tough injury like this, you think of the worst, and once again, so many expectations and so much for this year that I was looking forward to, because I'm that kind of guy. Like, I live up to the expectation. I like the challenges, and that's what I came to America for. So knowing that the fans were excited to for me to be back was just a great thing and a great feeling, and just so proud. And I'm not that kind of guy to say I'm always so proud of myself, but I was just kind of proud of myself in that moment, because once again, I've never been through this kind of injury before, and it was a long time that I couldn't really play the game of basketball. So I was just proud of myself, and very thankful with the fans and everybody that supported me throughout the process.
And then if I could get one quick last follow-up, you said you had the layup to tie the game at 69-69, the reverse layup where you switched hands. Can you walk me through that play? Because I've watched it several times, and it honestly reminds me of like the Jordan layup where he switches hands midair.
It's funny, man, because my brother and one of our friends were here, and before, the day before, I was like, okay, like, if I get to play, like, I may have the greatest game of my life, I think. And I just kind of had that feeling, like, I'm like, okay, like, if I play, I'm telling y'all, man, I'm gonna have it. And that game, that play was happening, and the night before, I was on Instagram for some reason, and I've seen this Instagram reel, some guy just saying, these are the 4 types of hooper like you don't want to face, and the first one was like the hip swivel. And I was like, wow, like that thing looks really nice and really interesting move. Like, I've never kind of done it before. I might have to do that, like, at some point. Game comes in, and I know the run, the play we're running, and we get the switch, and I as soon as I got that switch, I saw green light. And I kind of, where I was, I just knew that I was going to be able to do that move. And, once I did that dribble, and if you look at the play, I kind of do like a hip swivel, and then I do one more dribble or 2, drive baseline. And if you don't, if you knowing the defender and knowing the game of basketball, like, you're going to close me. If I drive, you're going to close the baseline, which led me to doing the spin move. And then I knew Edie was going to come help, because it's tight game. It's for to go to overtime, so I knew he was going to come help, try and block or do something. So, like, that's why I didn't even shoot it with the left. I just kind of like switched it back again to my right, because I knew if I went up with my left, he could have had a chance to block, and being 7'4". So definitely, really good play. I definitely watched the play about 1 million times after. just because I like studying and studying that kind of place because I like giving this kind of breakdowns. I think it's kind of cool for people to know like how I see things and why I did things and why I did that, why I did this. Because you may see something and you're like, oh, why did he do that? But like here I am explaining why I did it. And I think it's cool for people to see, how I see the game.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. That was a great story. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Andre, coach, talked about your return process being a lot, just how you handled maybe a day of activity the next day. So how did 26 minutes of gameplay feel on Tuesday and maybe Wednesday?
It felt weird just because we lost, and I kind of had a good game, knowing that it was my first game back in almost 2 months. But it's a weird feeling when you're back and when you want to win your first day back and you lose. So it wasn't, it was good. Obviously, it was a good feeling, just because I'm back and I felt pretty good about how I played. Obviously, got to keep tightening things up because there was a few mistakes down the stretch where I could have been better and we all could have been better. But definitely we're feeling just because first day back, you want to win. You have a good game, but you still lose. So as a player, you're in a tough spot in those kind of moments.
Yeah, and I guess in the not quite 2 months that you didn't play, did you learn anything maybe about your teammates or about this team?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot of things. One of them I know, Trent Frazier can be pretty good on the ball, and as a point guard, he just got to believe in himself. And if he, I love seeing him play from the sidelines, and I learn a lot from him. Some moves that I'm like, wow, like I got to do that. I learned many other things during practice, seeing how guys react to things in games. Kind of new, I mean, not new, like now I kind of know how to approach, all like different guys because sometimes they make a mistake and, I may come to them like, yo, like, let's go, come on, like maybe too aggressive. But now from, being in the sideline, I might have saw something that, if you come too aggressive, he may not react, too well to that. So, I will come to that guy in a calm way. Hey, like, let's go. Like, next play, you're good. Like, don't worry about that. Just little things like that. I was able to pick up, and I'm just, once again glad that I took the time, because if I would have rushed things, like I might have, not been able to be back to be myself. But the time that I was out, it was a great time to learn from guys like Trent, Plummer, the Monte that are veterans, and just happy, they're happy I'm back, and I'm just happy that we're back working together.
Thank you.
Andre, to echo everybody, good to see you back and feeling a little bit better here. I wanted to ask, kind of follow up with that, of watching from the sidelines. Obviously, early on in the season, it was a much different team with guys out, Kofi out, and you had to probably carry a heavy load. How do you fit back into this team after watching them have some success?
Just kind of do whatever I gotta do to win. I'm once again, like, I'm coming back, and I'm the one that gotta fit into, their playing style, if that makes sense, or with whatever they're doing at the moment. So I'm just here to, for them. Like right now, like I'm not even thinking like I'm this or I'm that. Like I'm just here for whoever needs me. Like if you need me to do this, I'll do it. If you need me to do that, I'll do that. Whatever needs to be done. Like I feel like I'll probably be that kind of guy that will do it. Like whether it's an assist, whether it's a rebound, like whatever it is, like I'm just here to, as long as we get the win, like I'll do whatever it takes.
Is that any different than what you felt coming into the year with some people calling you all American, all of that? Did you have a mindset shift change while you're sitting on the bench there?
Not really. Just because, like, I still think that I'm, a good point guard. I'm not gonna sit here and praise myself and say I'm this, I'm that, because I'll just let the people say whatever they want, and the people can make that judgment. I know the kind of player I am. Like, I don't need any of that. But yeah, no, like, it's kind of same mindset. Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win, and I think that's kind of what I did last game. Having Trent Frazier playing almost fifth, like the whole game, like it's not something he at times may not be able to, take care of business down the stretch just because, like, he's tired, or maybe we may not be able to give Kofi the ball because he's in foul trouble and he's in the bench. So I came in and did what I had to do, and I scored 20 points and had 3 assists. I had to score 20, you know what I mean? So and got 6 boards. So I just kind of did what I had to do, and I think that's gonna be my mentality. Just going forward, for Friday game and every other game too.
Thanks, Andre.
Andre, having been through the other side of this now, is there anything through your experience that you think might be able to help somebody else who might be going through something similar to your situation?
Yeah, definitely.
Great.
Find like whenever there's a time like this, like you got to make sure you have the right support and the right people around you, because it can get very lonely, you know what I mean, if you don't know how to deal with it. And it happened to me. Like, I'm a guy that don't really speak about a lot of things to people, and there was time where I didn't really want to speak up about how I was feeling. I would just deal with it in my on my own, and that can get challenging because you just pretty much, it's you by yourself trying to fight a situation that you as a person clearly know that you need help and you need somebody to support you, but because of how I am, I may not do that, you know what I mean? So, like, you got to challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone and speak about the situation and speak about your feelings, because it's important to be in a good mental space for sure, to be able to play the game of basketball, or as a job or whatever it is. I'm sure for you guys, especially having to do so many Zooms and so many things, like, you guys may go crazy at times. So even for people like, older, it don't gotta be just us players. Like, it can be older people too. Like, it's always good to, not hold things inside and just always, like, let things go. Whether it's with your wife, your mother, your father, whatever it is, just, always have somebody to talk to, because it's always good to, to let things go.
Thanks, Andre. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Andre, we got to cut you off, and sorry for any media that we have to get